try not to consider things horrible or wonderful when we're talking about the discussion. So, like, I would never characterize porn as horrible. I would characterize it as very unhealthy. Like, and I have been quoted saying that it damages your brain and destroys your brain. And I've been accused of hyperbole, but that comes from all the brains that I've seen. In my work, I can visualize brain performance patterns. I've seen there's two primary patterns that are associated with porn addiction and compulsive masturbation, to get to the next piece in a second. But there's two brain patterns. They are very damaged, very high levels of brain dysfunction. I've seen it thousands of times. So to me, that's where there's no debate. When something's scientifically true, we can discuss it and you can have a different viewpoint of it. But this is epidemic levels. People are now experiencing this brain dysregulation, which equals lack of self regulation. You have to go back to porn and masturbation for dopamine. It actually has nothing to do with sex. But as you know, sex sells. It always has. So now this opening up of talking about porn and masturbation is normalized. That's part of that. And of course, like, we can see it as there's kind of two roads, which I just told you I wouldn't characterize them as good or bad, but it is opening the conversation. Sex sells in one place. And now we're talking about it from a mental health standpoint too, which I think is all beautiful. Going back to the two roads, with TV shows or streaming shows all being even more sexualized than they were in the past. The whole movies, the 50 Shades, like that's where
Hmm.
all of that became not only normalized, but celebrated, so this is the one avenue. And then the other avenue is now people are talking about it openly, like it's no big deal. And just to visit the, excuse me, the masturbation piece for a minute, is there is a distinction between compulsive masturbation and non. Non is you've basically never watched porn, you've never had a consistent masturbation habit, it's never been associated with fantasy, high levels of dopamine. Dopamine is the neurochemical of motivation, more, and pleasure. It basically keeps you going back for more. So if you've never been in a position where that's a thing for you, then yeah, maybe we could say masturbation is quote unquote healthy. But if any of that falls true for you, you fall into the category of compulsion, which means it is not healthy for you. That's the distinction. And
Yeah.
99.9% of people fall into that compulsive piece.
Like, would you define, is there like a number of times a week, month that you would say is compulsive?
Yeah. And it's not even my definition.
Yeah.
I'm the messenger. So just to kind of be clear, when I say things there, or I will tell you this is my opinion, but scientific studies show even at very low frequency, even at one time a week, even at two times a month, when it comes to masturbation, again, it's usually isn't a habit at two times a week or two times a month, rather. It's a person fell into compulsion and now is backing out. So there's very many
Mm,
variables, but even one time a week, that can keep your brain hooked on dopamine from a self sexual behavior. And the way I think about it is you're either moving towards your goals or away from them. So if you want to link your brain to yourself in sexual behaviors, then that might be a road to do so. But if you want a partner, if you want healthy intimacy, if you don't want to be dependent on high levels of dopamine, then that's not the road to take.
that makes perfect sense. And you've talked a lot about, and I'm sure you've learned a lot from your clients, but you've talked a lot about the impacts that porn and masturbation has on a relationship, and that could be detrimental to the sexual health and intimacy of a relationship. What do you think are, or what are some of the things that you've seen impact people
Yeah,
in their relationships?
absolutely. It is a number one driver of heated, not just breakups, heated breakups and divorce. Because most times those self-sexual behaviors are actually secret self-sexual behaviors. Your partner doesn't know about them. That's a whole nother component. So if you have secret sexual behaviors, now this creates a rift in the relationship. Also, when your brain gets linked to all that dopamine from a specific avatar of a person that you've been watching or consuming, it's literal consumption in pornography proper, OnlyFans, or even on social media, your brain gets linked to dopamine from that person, not your partner. It gets linked to those acts, those scenarios, So now your brain needs and wants that. It desires that. So sexual desire for your partner goes down, sexual satisfaction goes down, your viewpoint of your partner's body goes down, your own body self image is decreased, lack of self esteem. Like the mental and physical health ramifications are far and wide. The number one pain point is sexual arousal dysfunction, which I call SAD. ED is at the furthest end of that spectrum of sadness. So, sexual arousal dysfunction basically means your brain's been so desensitized, you have to go back to where you got the most dopamine, not your partner, to be able to be aroused. And so now it's time to be with your partner and you can't. And just think about the feedback loop that that's going to lead to. You can't be with your partner because you can't be aroused enough. So back into porn or wherever you are being aroused, and the cycle continues. I
That
know. I know. And again, remember, I am just
you're
the
the messenger.
messenger here. A 4-year-old could tell you what I'm telling you here. I know it and I know it to be true, but think about what that's going to do to relationships. We already know. I have put videos out recently where I'm sure I'm already taking heat or I will soon, saying that porn and masturbation and OnlyFans and even hypersexualized social media will be what crushes masculine vitality. And we're already seeing it. Less men are
Already.
graduating from college than ever before. More women are. We see that more young men, and they're not even that young, mid 20s and 30s, are living with their parents longer because they are not able to get gainful, meaningful employment and they're falling into lower socioeconomic status. Those people are not finding partners. And I've already told you, ED is a major factor because they fear they can't be with that person intimately, which keeps them hooked to their screens. I honestly believe this is what's going to crush masculine vitality. And I don't want it. I want men to go, no way. I want to be a peak performer man. I
Hmm.
want to be a one percenter. More than ever before in history, you have to do differently than what everybody else is doing to be able to be healthy.
You know what's interesting, and you mentioned it briefly, I think you said hypersexualization of social media or something along those lines. I mean, I can't open up, and I don't really go on TikTok. I'll post and ghost. I know TikTok is like the devil, to quote some famous movies.
So bad.
Yeah, it's so bad. And that algorithm is just designed literally to hook you up and get you addicted to it. And
It is.
every time I go, I would say anytime I spend more than a few minutes on social media, Instagram is usually what I'm on, I do get, and sometimes it's even AI now, but like I do get like in my feed girls being, what you wouldn't be able to see on a regular website 10 years ago with how they're dressed and what they're doing and then innuendos they're making. And so you almost can't even avoid it if you're trying to without that. And what do you like? What can we do? Because once you're in an algorithm, you're in an algorithm, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes you have control over things and sometimes you don't. So, like, what do you recommend people do when you can't even open up Instagram without getting something hypersexualized fed to you? Thank you for listening to this clip from the full episode of Eyes Wide Open. Please like and subscribe for daily clips and new episodes that drop every Tuesday. I appreciate you.